Revolutionary scenes in France as Macron is losing control. That's a shame, isn't it? There are lots of happenings in France at the moment. President Macron already in the dumpster of approval ratings in what appears to be an attempt to sink yet lower, has imposed a tax hike on already rising diesel prices in France. At least the French are standing up to their crooked government. We need to do the same. Refugee man in Europe acquitted of raping child because he has different cultural norms. A refugee from Bangladesh was tried by a French court and was acquitted of the rape of a high school girl. The verdict was handed down yesterday. You see, the judicial system in every country, Western country, is working to the same agenda, allowing the invasion force to get away with everything and anything, and they'll say it's because they're not used to it. And yet we all work on the premise that when you go to another country you obey their laws, but this invasion force is exempt from obeying any laws. Pharmaceutical industry drains pregnant cow fetus to make vaccines. Now whether that's correct or not, it's terrible. 5 stages of psychogenic death, or give-up-itis. You can die simply by giving up the will to live, says new research. And I know this to be absolutely correct. In fact, when anyone dies, that's because they've given up the will to live. Whether they've decided to get cancer or crash or in accident or seemingly an accident, that's the way they've decided to go. Give-up-itis, or psychogenic death, is a real and terrible condition, finds new research. People can die in as few as 3 days after a major trauma causes them to give up on life. There are 5 stages of give-up-itis. Well, Brexit deal. EU says it will retain all control under Theresa May's agreement, leaked note shows. Brussels will retain all the controls over swathes of British regulations under the Brexit deal struck by Theresa May, EU negotiators have told member states. A leaked diplomatic note from a meeting between Commission officials and ambassadors from the EU's 27 countries reveal how Brussels view the level playing field rule signed up by the Prime Minister. We should be in the best negotiating position for the future relationship. This requires the customs union as the basis of the future relationship, Deputy Chief Negotiator Sabine Weyand said, according to the note seen by the Times newspaper. As I've been saying all along, we're not leaving Europe. This is treason and this is sedition by a puppet known as Theresa May. Leaked documents prove Soros working with the United Nations supporting illegal migrant crisis. On Sunday, the United Nations admitted it is supporting the illegal immigration and caravans from Central America currently marching towards the US southern border. In another report, the UN admitted they had mobilised extra staff and resources to help the illegal migrants in the caravan. Back in 2016, Breitbart obtained a leaked document from Soros Open Society Foundation revealing close links to UN migration representatives and former Goldman Sachs executive Peter Sutherland. And of course he's involved in the European invasion as well. Amber Rudd condemns UN poverty report in combative return to frontline politics. Now, rather than say, oh, this is just not happening, oh, it's ridiculous, oh, it's terrible, why don't you just accept the fact that it's not working? You're putting everyone into a debt situation, and you are going to be now responsible for many more deaths this year. Theresa May's Tory government have just in effect collapsed. Following the DUP's decision to break their confidence and supply agreement with the government yesterday, Theresa May's increasingly desperate Tories have tonight been forced to accept every single Labour Party amendment to crucial financial legislation, a situation which means that the UK government has in effect collapsed. Dairy industry is in panic as more Americans stop drinking milk. It looks like we don't care if we got milk these days. At least that's the conclusion a new report by the US Department of Agriculture assumed when it highlighted a significant decrease in cow milk consumption in the last 40 years. This is good. No one should be drinking milk. If you want to drink that type of stuff, get the coconut milk, or there's loads of alternate natural methods rather than having to kill calves so you can drink some milk. Philip Hammond will quit the cabinet and take 5 ministers with him if Theresa May tries for No Deal Brexit. Oh no, that will be such a loss. Oh, how will things ever pan out then? Not Philip Hammond, the one MP that's about as useful as the rest of them. Not. Philip Hammond would quit cabinet if Mrs May tried to move to No Deal Brexit. Chancellor would take 4 ministers with him if PM quits EU without a deal. Theresa May downgraded warnings about crashing out of the bloc with no deal. May now tells her MPs there could be no Brexit at all if her deal is voted down. We're not leaving the EU. This has been the plan all along. As I've said all along, there's no way they're going to let us leave the EU. Joe Biden confronted over child molestation claims at CSPAN live event. And there's a video there as well, the link's in description. There's loads of YouTube videos, clips of him on live camera molesting girls, touching them and all that dirty, perverted paedophile. But then what do you expect? Friend of Obama's or... Ugh. Now for more disgraceful news. At least 320,000 homeless people in Britain say shelter. Charity says figure for England, Scotland and Wales is likely to be underestimated. At least 320,000 people are homeless in Britain according to research by the housing charity Shelter. This amounts to a year-on-year increase of 13,000, a 4% rise despite government pledges to tackle the crisis. The estimate suggests that nationally 1 in 200 people are homeless. Now this is an utter disgrace. We are apparently the 4th richest country in the world and we've got hundreds of thousands on the street. This just demonstrates how corrupt the government is, because they could stop this easily, instantly, by stop giving all this millions and billions and trillions away to other countries and solve it. But they're a satanic Luciferian bunch of paedophiles that don't give a shit about anything or anyone but themselves, and the sooner we bring this system down the better. Police beat a woman for selling flowers with no permit. Taxpayers to be held liable. And there's a video. In the land of the free, if you don't pay for the state before you attempt to sell a product or service to a willing customer, you can and will be extorted. And that's what it is, basically. Pay the government for a permit, because you're not allowed to sell flowers without a permit, and if you do that, you'll get beaten up. An absolute, utter dictatorship. An EU banking union is essential, Merkel advisor says. Yeah, well, no, because we're supposed to be leaving. Do you recall that? Yeah, told you, we ain't going anywhere. Madrid police dumbfounded after Amazon called the cops on striking workers. You see, according to big corporations like Amazon, you're slaves and you're not allowed to strike. And if you do, we'll call the heavies in and get you beaten up and not back to work because, again, you're slaves. Motorway service stations are still charging up to £1.57 for a litre of diesel despite collapsing oil prices. Drivers pay almost £15 a gallon more compared to cheaper supermarket prices. Moto chain was charging 20p more than the national average in Lincolnshire. Service stations argue that higher prices for fuel are justified by their higher rent. What a crock of shit. I've always thought that motorway services were a rip-off, and if you've got your sat-nav, always check for, as you're travelling up the motorway, or if someone else is with you, check for the nearest supermarket, because they'll always be cheaper. And even if it's just a little diversion off the motorway, it'll be better than going and paying. Well, that's £1.57 is ridiculous. I put some fuel in the car yesterday, and it was £1.18.7 at Asda in West Bridgford. The scum. It's one man and his dog. War vets' refuge is flattened. Gloating Macron threat to UK. You're having a laugh. PM blasted as Brexit deal signed. Or that should read, PM blasted as treason committed. Sedition committed. The Times. How curves became a currency. Russia seizes Ukrainian gunboats in Black Sea clash. All we want for Christmas are exciting experiences. You don't like a bit of excitement. May. Vote for my deal or it's back to square one. Brexit warning to MPs after European leaders support plan. A plan in which she has absolutely 100% given up the UK to Europe. She's bent over and says, yeah, screw us as hard as you want, as often as you want. Yes, come and fish in our waters. Yes, we'll obey everything you say, because she's a sellout, a puppet, and trying to get us deeper involved in a dictatorship known as the European Union, which is collapsing around our eyes as countries pull out of this UN migrant pact of invasion force, basically. Mirror. Jungle Harry, my love story. The day I met Sandra at dance was my luckiest ever. I didn't cry in court, but I did when I got home to her. After EU agrees Brexit terms, now for the hard bit. Desperate May faces uphill struggle to get MPs to back deal and save her skin, because even they can see it's utter treason and sedition. The Guardian. Wanda Sykes, why I quit Roseanne. Revealed faulty implant scandal. In Parliament and beyond it, I will make the case for this deal with all my heart, because I know I'm a treasonous bitch committing sedition and selling out the population of the UK, and even some of the MPs can see that. So even they're thinking, wow, if this shit does hit the fan and we do rise up, then anyone voting for it, they're going to be on the list. Europe says yes, let the debate begin. A historic day in Brussels as EU leaders endorse May's Brexit plan to sell the United Kingdom down the river and bend us over and let us be shafted as often as they want to, as many times as they want to, because there is no exit in this deal. And both sides warn there is no plan B. Well, how about this for a plan B? We repeal the 72 Act. Ta-da! Sorted. The PM now has 2 weeks to win support for the deal before a Commons vote, with both Labour and DUP firmly opposed. Jeremy Hunt warns that defeat will bring down the government. It's not easy being a parasite on the left. Inside the Mummy's Tomb, an amazing discovery in Egypt. Why Ross from Friends wants to talk about UK homelessness. NHS set to save 300 million on drugs bill. daily fail. We're all wild about Harry. Theresa's frantic fortnight. May begins battle to sell her treasonous vision today, as Hunt admits government could collapse if MPs reject the deal. And they've got to reject the deal because it's not a deal, it's a sellout. Why are they waving bye-bye to Kate and Wills? Because they're moving to a bigger apartment, a bigger house, you know, a 10-bedroom place, because they're a bunch of parasitical scum that they should have a one-room jail cell each. That's what they should have. Star. Telly Jim in Vice Race rant. Jungle Holly's 5 billion lolly. Pantos acts dwarfs for kids. Actors. Fury over stealing our work. Corrie Kim to be a gran. Express. We're not ready for worse winter. Yes, we are. No jungle rations here. Holly bags a tasty treat. The EU has signed off May's treason that has split the nation. On December 12th, the meaningful vote takes place in the Commons, just 107 days before we exit. Non-existent exit. Today we urge MPs to stop bickering and get on with it. Oh, stop bickering. It doesn't matter that she's committed sedition and treason and has sold the country out. Just get on with it, says the papers, because that's the way they want, because they are the mouthpiece of the government. The way out of this mess is clear, but our can't do government won't seize it. The tell lie graph. May seeks Corbyn TV on debate on deal. Metro. Jungle agony, Uncle Noel. Facebook document seized by Parliament. Rail passengers get complaints ombudsman. Brexit, take it or leave it. May and Juncker tell MPs to back deal after EU leaders give the thumbs up. Yes, you've totally sold the country out, so we'll give the thumbs up for that one, you treasonous bitch. Europe says yes, but will MPs? Well, if they do, it's treason. Financial Times. May embarks on Brexit hard sell after EU leaders back her treason. Fight looms in UK Parliament. Premier insists there is no plan B. Brussels mood solemn.